jacked. Like, you know. Like some of those guys cutting down like the tops of trees, and then the ladder falls the other way. You're like, oh fuck! And way the fuck up there. You're like,
dude,
you're going to hospital.
Be professional.
There's a couple where people fall down and they just don't get up.
Yeah,
they're just like,
he's out.
There's this one with this little kid, man, and he's riding his bike, and he's riding it really hard, really, really hard, and he slams into like the corner of like a fence.
Oh, coming down the street?
Yeah, hits himself in the chest, and he lays there for me. Then he gets up and goes, ah! You're like, man, brother, I feel you, man. That has to suck.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
that has to suck out fucking loud.
But what did you? You can touch me all night long. But what did you learn, Billy? There you go.
Nothing.
Exactly.
He learned nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's going to do it again
next week.
We rode around, no fucking helmets, nothing.
Knee pads.
Did you know anybody that I knew kids that wrecked on their bike and got like banged up, but I didn't know anybody who like ended up like serious in hospital or had brain damage or and not one. And everybody rode their fucking bike everywhere.
I sprained my ankle once riding a bike, but that's about it.
But you're still here.
I'm still here. I mean, I break that ankle all the time.
Wow.
When I'm drunk,
I break that ankle.
I do. I really do. That ankle is fucked now.
I always break the same fucking ankle.
Goddamn ankle.
I was 9.
Ankles of love. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's go.
What?
Exactly.
Did you watch it?
Did I watch
the new Beavis and Butthead?
No, I'm not.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm not 12 anymore.
No, it's funny.
Is it?
Oh, I'm definitely going to see it. I'm not going to go to the movie theater and see it.
It's on Paramount+.
But I'm definitely going to see it.
There's too many streaming services.
I saw You Have to See. I don't know about you. It might be too rough for you. But you have to see Black Phone. That is fucking amazing. It's an instant classic in horror. Like an instant classic.
Easily.
Black Phone?
Black Phone.
Black Phone.
Ethan Hawke should get a fucking Academy Award. He's fucking great in it.
Ethan Hawke.
He's fucking great, man. It is really, real. It's very dark, very violent. But it's really like, it's different. It's like, okay, now this is a different, it's original. It's not like, there's no zombies.
No.
There's no vampires. No. There's no werewolves. There's no Frankenstein. You know what I mean?
There's no superheroes.
That's so weird.
There's no superhero. There's almost no CG. There's some stuff when you see it, you go like, well, they would had to do that with CG, but like, there's no like CG like monsters or anything like that, and it's terrifying. It's fucking, dude. I'm telling you.
Will I poop my pants?
Is it a newer film?
Yeah, it just came out.
Okay.
It just came out. I went to see it in the movie theater on Saturday. I was like, I could have turned right around and went back and watched it again. It's fucked up. It takes place set in the 70s. Got a good soundtrack.
Oh, fun.
There you go.
That's always a plus. We were talking about horror movies today at work, and they're like, "Are you Lily or not Lily? My real name. Do you get scared of horror movies?" And they're like, "I'm like, I have no soul. Nothing scares me anymore."
There aren't. Well, there's all kind of like YouTube videos about horror movies. Like, can anything really be scary? But there's one or maybe 2 jump scares in the whole movie. Yeah. And what's scary about it is like the situation that these people are in. You're like, what the fuck? It's fucked up. It's fucked up. And Ethan Hawke plays this character called the Grabber, and he is like, yeah, that's funny, yeah.
That sounds
I'm the Grabber. Yeah. I'm the Diddler.
Whoa.
The Fondler. I'm the Fondler.
No, you're not, sir.
The Fondler. Oh, first time on a bike, I forgot how to brake and ran into a brick wall.
Yeah, it happens.
Hi, whoever that is.
Bono and U2 killed rock and roll.
Oh, Angelina Green. Hi.
Hi, Angelina.
That was her saying that about
Lulu.
the bike, too.
Lulu says, hi, guys. Hi, Lulu.
Hi, Lulu.
You have, like, my name doubled.
Wow.
I'm just Lou. You're like Lulu.
Twice the fun.
Lulu's awesome.
Double your pleasure. Double your fun with double good, double mint gum.
Oh, boy.
Oh, fuck. Okay. My stomach is starting to get a little more settled.
That's good.
Yeah, I was like, nauseous.
Nauseous.
Okay. I don't really need that.
No.
And this is our background music.
It is.
It's probably going to be really loud. Crank it back a second. All right. Let's check levels.
All right.
Lavelle?
Like Chuck Leavell.
Oh, sure.
You know, what was he? Little Feet, right? No.
I don't know.
Yeah, keyboard player.
Well, he's a keyboard player.
Yeah,
I
I think Little Feet.
They're lower than bass players.
Wow.
They really are.
No.
Lower than bass
Bass
players.
are low.
No.
Like the ace of
Man,
bass.
we're real deep. Bass players.
And yet I have a
deep.
crush on like so many of them.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of like a thing.
Well, that's skateboarding. They do all kind of tricks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, like, so I would like maybe pop a wheelie on my bike, but I wasn't trying to do tricks.
You weren't going down a set of
That's
stairs
Joe
on the
Freeman.
railing.
Yeah.
On your bike.
That's Joe Freeman.
Joe Freeman. He a Freeman. Joe Freeman and Morgan Freeman are not related.
Really? I didn't.
I love how you went there with
I was
that.
going to say that there wasn't a resemblance. So
Not so much.
I can see that.
You don't say.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to feel good.
Feeling good now?
Feeling good.
That felt good.
I should have probably brushed my hair, huh?
No, looks great. You're very, very rock and roll-ish.
Oh, thanks. Get that.
Honky.
No, not
Yes.
invited.
Come on.
Not invited.
Come on, he loves you.
No.
He tell me so.
Honky
Say he
loves you.
Yes, but I don't know what kind of love that is.
I love the kind of honky
He
man.
wants to honk you. He is
to
the
give you
Well,
a
who the hell
honk.
doesn't?
He wants to give you a big honking. All right, so we have all our things set up,
Uh-huh.
and we'll see if Keith is able to join us. I don't know if he's going to be able to join us or not, but I sent him the link
Fingers
to.
crossed.
Come on, Keith. We miss you.
That's why I had Facebook open to see if he threw a question.
Respond
Man, I'm
day.
trying to get on there, man. I can't get it to work.
Responde,
Yeah,
Keith.
so I gotta leave it. I gotta leave that
Yeah.
up.
I'm sorry.
That's so ladylike.
Let's get it out now.
Keith.
I'm trying.
He said, "Look, he looks like he looked at it.
Ah.
He looked at it." So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and get the party started, and then we will.
I'm coming out.
And then we will take it
Party started.
one step at a time. Sweet Jesus. Oh, wait a minute. We have to.
Don't forget that. Dial it back a little bit. Just dial it back.
Oh, wow. Some of these are funny.
Yeah, I saw- yeah.
some of these- when I look at it on my phone, I don't see the comments.
Well, you have to click on the little comment thing. Yeah, and it'll come up.
I never look at that.
See, it's a good thing I'm here.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes.
Okay, you guys ready to do?
Let's do it.
Okay, I don't see Keith yet, so we're just gonna go ahead and start. And when the Hawkman himself joins in, Keith the Hawk Hawkins, he'll join in. Mm-hmm. Me and little brother will join right in there. All right, I think we have levels. I think we're good.
Yes.
Lily is always a little. No, it's Pittsburgh Kevin.
Am I a little low, a little high,
You're a little low.
a little sideways? How's that? That sounds better. I can at least.
Okay, all right. We guys good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We guys is all goods is
Huh?
Higher ground. Andy Demmett, Jerry Chambers. Are you Jerry Chambers from what was the band, the Tom Tom Club?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They
that.
were half of the Talking Heads, and they went and they founded the Tom Tom Club. That's not. I don't think that's his name. I think
Is he
it's-
really from Thailand?
No, I don't know. He might be.
Come
This
on,
guy might
Jerry.
be from Thailand.
Jerry, are you really from Thailand?
Are you really from Thailand?
That's awesome, man.
Okay, here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's get some notes in front of us. Oh, Lord God. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3. The first 22 years of the 21st century have seen a major decline in the presence of rock bands and rock artists gracing the pop charts. And this has led a lot of people to utter the statement, rock is dead. But is it? And if it isn't, where did it go? Where is all the great guitar-driven music that used to populate the charts, mainstream/corporate radio? It was always those bands. You always had bands like Cheap Trick, The Cars, Huey Lewis and the News, Eddie Money, Bryan Adams, this guitar-driven kind of like rock-based stuff. We have virtually none of that. Very little, if any. So on this week's Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, post-Independence Day edition, we're going to do a deep dive into the state of rock in the third decade of the 21st century and answer the questions: where is rock? Why did it disappear for the most part from pop radio? And can it ever come back? Get ready to rock out with your talk out. It's the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Moms and dads, boys and girls, and children of all ages, grandmas and grandpas even, right, Pittsburgh, Kevin?
Yeah. That's right, Lou.
Welcome back, everyone, to the July 5th, 2022 edition of the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus podcast, where we come together every week and pick some rock and roll related topic and have a good time with it. Sometimes we take it a little more seriously. Sometimes we don't take it seriously at all. We have some folks, Jerry Chambers from Thailand. He's Rock Rage Radio Asia. Nice. Awesome, man.
Awesome. Yes.
So anyways, we're going to go ahead and we'll get into comments at the end. We'd like to do that. So stick around, guys. We'll get into the end. We'll answer questions and comments, and hopefully no more flies coming. There's a fly flying around just before we started, and I thought for sure this damn thing's going to fly in my mouth.
It ain't flying no more. You studied on killing.
I studied on killing on it. I studied on it quite a bit. So anyways, it is the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Loudini rockandrollcircus.com is the old website. And LouLombardimusic.com. I've been doing tons and tons of music. If you follow me on TikTok, I'm putting up all kind of cool guitar videos all the time. And working on some cool new original music. I'm getting... I have a lot going on, so it's just taking me a while to kind of... Last year sort of threw me for a loop. I had some personal things happen, and so we're getting back to it. But anyways, you can keep up with all my comings and goings at LouLombardimusic.com and LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. You get access to our private Facebook group. That's where we're hanging out with folks live, and we can chit-chat with them. You could be doing that, too. You get access to our old back catalog of podcasts, or YouTube archive, as well as my interview archive with a lot of really cool people. So check that out, LouLombardimusic.com and LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. Shout out to Wolf's Customs. I don't know what happened to Chris. He's liking and sharing my stuff, but he hasn't been on, so I don't know if maybe the schedules have changed or something like that. But shout out to Wolf's Customs. Go to wolfscustoms.online. Check them out for custom paint, custom refinishes, custom artwork on your musical instrument, no matter what it is. They do it. And rockrageradio.com. Download what kind of app is it, Lily? Free app, and you can listen to great music programming 24/7.
Nice.
24/7 with who's our new girl? Angelina? Is that her name?
Angelina Green. She was on before, and she's back.
Right.
She's awesome.
What's up, Angelina Green? So, that's just a good example. Tons of great shows on there. What are some of the other shows on there, Lily?
We also have Rocky Mountain Radio, Shaking the Rafters with Michelle. Cannot remember all the mine. Hot Licks with Lily 6, which is one of the most important ones that you're going to
As long as you listen to Hot Licks with Lily 6,
Start with that.
you'll be good.
It's 24/7. You'll find something you'll like.
I guarantee. Well, my name ain't Loudini.
Oh, I see what you did there. That's wonderful.
Okay, guys. So, anyways, rock
And
roll. Anyways,
There you go.
speaking of rock, we do have Lily V6 Rock Rage Radio.
What's up?
So, what's going on, Lily? What's going on with you? You saw some? Did you go to some shows?
I went to Rock for Life Gigaroo over the weekend at Island Park in Salzburg. So many great bands. It goes to a great charity. It was just super fun all weekend long, super hot all weekend long, but everybody rocked. It was wonderful. And one of the most exciting things going on is I'm going to be an auntie, so
hooray!
Auntie.
we can talk about that now.
That's awesome.
Auntie Lily.
Auntie,
Oh,
Aunt
So,
Lily.
She's he or she will be a rocker. I guarantee you.
Yes.
I don't know, man. Her mother's really into country. I don't know.
No, she likes some rock too.
She'd be a countryer.
Lily will take care
Not
of
when
that.
I babysit her. Him, it, they.
Don't you worry.
Actually,
Yeah,
don't know what
or-
it is. I think
or
it's a she.
Non-gender specific.
No.
Lily will take care of the musical tastes.
Okay, and then we do have Pittsburgh Kevin.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, now.
Hey, now.
You all right? Did you do anything good this weekend?
Nah.
Yeah, I think you did something good.
Oh, man. Last night, check this shit out. Last night, I went home and had Franks and beans. Oh, before that, though. Before that, I got to hang out with one of my favorite people on the whole wide world. No, not Robin Zander.
I wasn't here, so
I hung out with Honky the Clown.
it's messed up.
It is messed up. No, I got to hang out with him, Loudini himself, and we watched a guy hitting a drum. It was weird. Now we got to watch the fireworks here in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. We had a lot of fun, man. That was fun.
Canonsburg is
And
4th of July Central.
Yes,
It
yes,
really
it
is.
is. All year round, by the way. And Lou had a great soundtrack to go along with the fireworks. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it played some cool stuff. Some played like stuff you hadn't heard in a while.
Right?
Snorting whiskey and drinking cocaine.
Yes.
Most notably. I was trying to be courteous to my neighbors,
You did
but
turn
I
it
mean
down
it
a
was
little.
Keith wants another link. That's the only link I got, Mr. Keith.
Update your browser.
Oh, jeez, it's always freaking something. Try another browser.
SER.
Spelling's hard.
Remember, folks, this podcast is free.
Yes,
So bear with us.
Yeah, bear with us. So, anyways, I try to keep it as professional as possible. But yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, it was
Drinks were flowing, and we were listening to some music
flowing.
and enjoy a beautiful night air.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
we've been
it
having
wasn't
some
too hot. It was
beautiful.
nice and cool.
Yeah, we've
little
been having
breeze.
some nice weather lately. We really have. Anyways, so yeah, we've been doing that. I'm a movie nut.
No.
I watched the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I love
I've
that.
done that.
I'm
recently.
not going to watch the Crystal Skull. I'm going to just sort of
No?
pretend like that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's a bad dream.
Yeah, it's like a bad wet dream. Like a dry dream.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was a dry dream. Sorry.
Dry and sandy dream.
So, but anyways, I went to the movie theater and saw a new movie out, and if you like horror, but I got to give you, this is not for the faint of heart. This movie's not for the faint of heart. It's called Black Phone. It is really fucking good. It's not a remake of anything. It is based on a short story by Joe Hill, which I read last year, or listened to on Audible last year as I was driving to visit my sister in Wilmington, Delaware, and I was gripping the wheel, leaning over to the to the sound system in my vehicle, like what's gonna happen? Oh my God, Wow. So they did a great job with the movie version.
Great.
Ethan Hawke is fantastic in it. All the actors are really good in it. There's some child actors that I think, especially a little girl who I think is gonna has a potential to become somebody like a really good actor,
Excellent.
like really, really good.
Cool.
But yeah, check it out. It's called Black Phone. But it is not for the faint of heart. It's very, very violent. Very violent. So if that kind of thing bothers you, there's no machismo CGI or anything like that. It's well done. So you guys want to check that out for sure. I don't know what else I did. I practiced guitar a lot, and visited some family. I kept it.
Hey, let me ask you something if we're talking about guitars. So the Carnegie Science Center has a guitar exhibit.
I want to go.
Do you want to go, Lou?
Sure.
All right, that was easy. No,
I saw that months ago. I really want to see that.
I thought
Okay.
like you were going to say something about it, like.
No. I didn't know if you would be interested in going. I know Lily is now. So
Yeah, I would like to. I would
We'll have
go
to get
check
together
that out.
and figure out a day that we can all go.
A field trip.
I know.
Field trip.
I started talking to Scott Tellerico I met him actually, and he's the guy that does the Pittsburgh guitar shows. Mm-hmm. So like,
another one's coming up. By the way.
they're doing them like every 6 months down here.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So
I'm working
guitar.
on kind of hours.
Okay, and
I
this
got
is
some
a good,
money.
This is a really good segue into our topic tonight, because there are more guitars being sold today than there ever have been in the history. Even at the height of like the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and all that, there are more guitars being sold today than ever in the history of music.
Right.
So
Yet.
there are definitely kids who want to make rock music.
Yeah.
They want. You know, there's always. I was watching. I watched a video on YouTube. And I can't remember the artist's name. He's an independent artist talking about how like we don't really need, like, the world doesn't need any more music. It doesn't need any more bands. Like we have, you know. But his thing was, if you have a passion for it, just do it. Who cares?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
don't like.
Just
You
have
shouldn't let
fun.
that hold you back.
Right.
Just put it out there and do whatever feels good. Like, you know. And that is really how this all started. This whole rock thing started, was people just playing music that felt good.
Like, ooh, I like that.
You
It's
know.
kind of magical.
Yeah,
I like
they
that.
were taking sounds and stuff that were in the air and doing their sort of take on them. So does anybody here not know what rock is? It's hard to define if you
Yeah,
like try to like give a definition to it. You know, it's definitely kind of hard to define. But I mean, the sort of definition I'm using in my head is like guitar-driven
Right.
music that is got the, you know, that rock and roll kind of groove to it.
That
It's
sticks
got a lot.
it to the man.
It sticks it to the man. It's the music that's how we stick it to the man.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really good explanation of it. But it's got attitude. It's a little dangerous. It's the kind of thing that makes your parents, like, you know, raise an eyebrow.
Nervous.
Yeah, nervous. Yeah, exactly. But there were some things that happened in history that allowed rock to really take off.
Yes.
And recording technology started to get a lot better. And so did audio, like listening technology. The technology we used to actually play
Actually
it back
hear it, yeah.
started to become. And what was interesting was audio technology and the music business were the same business. RCA is not only a record label,
Right.
right? But they actually created technology to make.
Victrolas, Lou.
Yeah, they created a
in
lot
the
of stuff
day.
that
Yeah.
made the music that we like sound. But hey, Tony Horton, Tony Horton, do you hear Who?
Oh, see, you knew
Why
that was
did I
coming.
know that was
Horton,
going
here's
on?
a
I
Who.
knew that was coming.
But anyways,
Sorry.
so this is all kind of coming together like around the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a there was a atmosphere for innovation. People didn't know. The technology was new, so like they wanted to try. So you know, places like Sun Studios would just bring people in. And say, I don't know.
Let's see what you saw.
Let's see what this.
try
Let's
it.
just
Give
throw
it a
this
shot.
up. I don't know. You know, so it was like a kind of really fun kind of approach of people just kind of saying, I don't know, I'm playing it the way I feel it.
Right.
And that is what all these guys, going back to Elvis and Little Richard and Chuck Berry and, you know, all these guys, that's what they were doing. They were, and rock became the leader. You know, so what happens, right, is the music. Okay, so we have, other than, oh, by the way, this isn't the first time rock has so-called died. Okay,
Right.
the rock
Right.
has died several times already. Rock died when the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly and
Richie.
Richie
Richie,
Valens
yeah, Richie.
crashed, and what happened was folk music that came in and filled the void. But then the Beatles came, right, and
And
so
said, nope.
you know, rock comes back, and rock is the kind of leading music for a decade or so through the late 60s through the early 80s, where other styles of music were happening, but you could tell that they were all people that had their ear to
Right.
rock.
Exactly.
They were listening. Everybody had listened to the Stones and the Beatles and
Right.
bands like that, and they had an ear to that, and that music kind of informed what happened for like maybe a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades or so in pop music, and then things changed. The computer, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I have that thing.
The computer. So came along and started to change. Started to make things change. So I'm gonna kind of like just sort of like laid a little background. So everybody, and I remember as a kid listening to the King Biscuit Flower Hour and Westwood One and all these, and these bands would be interviewed, and bands that had nothing to my ear sounded nothing like the Beatles said, "Oh my God, Leonard Skinner." I were like, "Who are your biggest influence?" And I was like, "Okay." They were like, "The Beatles."
Yeah.
I was like, "But what? You sound nothing like the Beatles." And like everybody said, "The Beatles, the Beatles, the Beatles, the Beatles, the Beatles."
Right.
So this perpetuated through. And so what happened when rock came back with the Beatles? We went from rock and roll to rock. Okay, which is an ability which allowed more styles to kind of be
kind of bleed
come
into it.
into it. So
Exactly,
at this point, you start to have bands that are psychedelic and they're kind of jamming, right? You get it. Then the heavy stuff
heavier
starts coming
rock,
in.
the heavy
The heavier metal, that all starts coming in. You get the progressive type thing. You do have bands like the Byrds, that are bringing in that sort of West Coast country kind of thing, and Graham Parsons and people like that. And then you're hearing people like Emmylou Harris, who is definitely country, but she's definitely got her ear on rock.
Exactly.
She's definitely
Yeah.
listening to rock.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing. I can't remember which song it was, but it was a country song that came out, had distortion on one of the, I think on the bass solo.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was, and again, this is another thing that was, influenced by rock. So rock was like kind of like the leader for a really, really, really long time. And I think that we all thought it was just going to go on we couldn't really see how that would, ever change. I mean, if you think about how music changed, like during the MTV generation, again, it was bands like the Police, Men at Work, and bands like that
Yeah.
who were playing guitars. They were playing a sort of style of rock, the Clash and stuff like that. Then they opened it up to Culture Club and Wham and Madonna and all these other bands that, kind of jump on the bandwagon. And, then the whole MTV kind of thing happens as well. Grunge. Again, these are kids with guitars influenced by punk and classic rock. 90s rock is really interesting. It's really diverse. You can't really say there's a 90s. I mean, the 90s, you got bands like Stone Temple Pilots and the Counting Crows.
Right.
Like both are like big rock bands.
But very
they
different.
sound nothing like each other, okay?
Right.
But they do have that rock kind of thread going through. And then even in the early 2000s with the new metal, and then you had bands like the White Stripes, the Black Keys, Jet, bands
Yeah,
like that
right,
that were
right.
like
So
that were
great.
like getting on the radio with rock and roll songs, but that was like the end of it. That was like the kind of like final chapters of rock. So what happened? I'm going to go ahead and let Lily jump in with some
What
ideas.
happened?
Well, my opinion is I don't think rock is dead.
No, it's not.
But let me finish.
Right.
I didn't say it was dead. It's just not the
Right.
mainstream, most
Right.
influential style of music. It is an indie thing now.
Right. And I think that has a lot to do with MTV not doing MTV like what we were used to MTV doing. They started doing reality shows, so the music was by the wayside and people weren't as access to it, I guess. And then the internet where people are YouTube. Everybody's a star on YouTube. It's not all rock. That makes me a little bit crazy. Shows like American Idol. We're creating rock stars now instead of just having people finding them like we used to do. What else was I going to say about that? Because there's some more stuff.
Well, I think you bring up a good point about things like American Idol.
Yeah.
And I think American Idol marginalizes is the beginning of this. Is not the beginning, but it's kind of marginalizes rock. It's kind of like there would be these cute kids, and I can't remember their names, but there's a one kid. He was real smart, played an SG, and he got up there and he played like AC/DC and he really rocked out. And it was like it became like kind of a novelty. It's the little kid that got up and played on Good Morning America and played the intro to Todd for Teacher on the drums.
Right.
And then Brad Paisley brings him out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? To to play some shows with him. But that's a kind of like, so rock is now kind of looked at, starting to become kind of looked at as a kind of like, you know what I mean? Oh, isn't that cute?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which sucks. And there's a lot of times where I see the youth do not really like. So rock and roll is supposed to be about fun and partying and having a good time and loving life. Now we're more into it's got to be a serious topic or we don't want to hear it. Is how the kids are today. I think I see that a lot. Like if it doesn't mean something, I don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's another big thing. Why it's not in the forefront.
It's like a lot of emo rock, and it's like, oh, come on, lighten up, Francis.
Yeah. So there's that, and
Well, I mean, what rock bands are touring and packing arenas?
well, there's nothing really packing except for the old bands.
Big classic.
I'm not talking about COVID. Let's just put COVID
No.
aside.
I'm just like Metallica still one. Of course, we have the stadium tour coming out, which is Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett.
Okay, but that's a bunch of bands together.
Right? Yeah. It's a Motley Crue show. Let's be real.
Okay, that's legit. I agree.
There aren't many new bands filling anything other than like Stage AE, and that's not a very big venue. Like it's all the older bands that are doing it.
Now wait a minute. Like, who's really doing it though? Metallica, U2.
Yeah.
Okay, so this Motley Crue thing, maybe if Van Halen, well, they're never going to do anything.
No.
That's over. So like they probably were playing really big things when they did their little reunion. What was that, 5-6 years ago? But who else rock?
The Fighters. The Foo Fighters used to.
They were playing stadium. Okay,
Well,
They could do that.
Yeah, they could
so,
do that.
So there's only a few, but there used to be tons.
Yeah. Every week there was a new band.
I know,
down
we used to have a place in Pittsburgh called the Civic Arena.
It
was an arena. It was huge.
It's like almost every week.
And there was always rock bands playing. And they would always do really, really well. It didn't really, require much. There was a show at the arena. Who's coming? I don't know. I knew people that just went.
Yeah.
They just went. They didn't
It's
care.
gonna be good.
It's going to be good. It's a rock show. It's going to be great.
You see all your same friends every week. Every time you went.
Yeah. And so, but those type of bands just aren't out now. I've been told that there are different parts of the world where, that isn't as much of a thing. Like in some places in Europe. I've heard that Brazil is really big into rock. They'll, big rock. Rush when they were touring.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That was one of those
Sold out
bands.
how many days in a row.
They could do stuff like that, but they're gone too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we just don't have that, and that type of excitement. Remember the excitement around rock?
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember the excitement around, like, the bands were exciting. Why were they exciting, Lily?
Because they were fun. It's an atmosphere. It's the visuals, the audio, everything. It was an entire feeling you got when you went to a show, and everything just, I don't know. It's my happy place. So
Yeah, and those bands were living the lives
Yeah.
you wish
Yes.
you could live.
That's what I was trying to get to. That's exactly
They were
what I
out
was
there
trying to get
doing
to.
it.
They weren't just musicians. They were kind of like superheroes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were doing what the rest of us wanted to be doing. Partying every night.
I still want to do that.
Throwing televisions out of hotel rooms, crashing cars into swimming pools, and and banging tons of hot chicks.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to do that, but
No,
I
you
would,
don't.
I wouldn't be the groupie. So.
Oh.
Well, I used to.
You want to be the one getting banged.
Getting
Yes.
to know you. Getting to know all
You already
about
knew that. Come on.
Yeah.
But
There isn't anything.
And I think too, like, this is when people say, "Well, grunge killed rock." It was a nail in the coffin because the bands changed their whole. They were not the Outlaws. anymore.
they used to be.
They were not. These guys were all sensitive.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
You know, they were all real sensitive and real, I'll just, we don't want to like, offend anyone, or we don't want to,
Well, yeah, that's what I mean about the youth today.
we're trying to treat women with respect and all that stuff like that, and which is fine. I mean, I believe in treating everybody with respect, but
It's an
like,
image.
but that was a sort of like, they were trying to portray themselves as more like elevated or more sensitive,
Right.
And I'm gonna just go ahead and say, since we're not taking comments yet, but Tony Horton said something brilliant just now. He said rock is too masculine, and that is exactly what Kiss is another band that play big arenas.
Right.
But that is exactly what happened. Like rock lost its balls. It did. It really did.
It must have got married. So, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
It loses its balls. And you can't. That is what rock is all about. Like you were quoting Jack Black earlier, Kevin. What were you saying?
I don't remember. I don't remember what happened 5 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what was that? Oh, stick it to the man.
It wasn't that hard.
I remembered.
Yeah, I mean
Rock
that's
and roll stuck it to the man.
is how you stick it to the man. That's exactly. If you haven't seen the movie School of Rock, you should go watch it. It's fun.
People don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kids aren't as excited as we used to be when we were younger, and I think we're a little bit stubborn, like my age and up, who don't want to go out and look for anything other than what we're used to.
Yeah.
And so it starts to the whole atmosphere of it starts to change. I think one of the things that made like Elvis so appealing was because he was dangerous.
Right.
Parents didn't like him. They were afraid. Where's this guy coming from? When the Beatles come to America, like everybody said, "Oh my God, their hair is so long."
They're so different.
Uh-huh. They are. Hoodlums.
Right? Metal. Oh my God, this is so scary.
Yeah.
Punk, with the razor blades and
I'm
the
still
slam
scared of
dancing.
punk. Yeah, I'm still scared of it.
None of that. Everybody is, all rock. All the current musicians like would never think to be like dangerous. And I know that there are metal bands that are doing really theatrical things, and it's like trying to portray that, but it's kind of like yawn because we've been there, done that, and we know that you're just a dad. You know what I mean?
Also, my friends have gone to a lot of the heavy metal shows that had like the upside down crosses and a whole lot of stuff, and now they're taming that down because they don't want to offend people anymore. Now, isn't this why you started doing this? Because you wanted to offend people? Isn't this why you started this? Now you're going to take it away, and that's people my age who are going to these shows are disappointed because they're not seeing what they used to see when they were younger. So there's that. Like when I go see Wasp. There's no way he's going to be doing hanging women from chains.
He became a born again Christian,
right? Which I understand, but I don't.
Fine.
I think that would still change regardless if he did that or not, because he doesn't want to offend people, because everybody is scared now. Everybody's afraid.
Unlike this
Cancel
podcast,
we are not
have
afraid.
no trouble
but what
offending people.
I think that you're making a good point about cancel culture, for sure. But what about this? This starts happening before cancel culture,
Right.
You know what I mean? I just think there's only so many. Even if you spit the blood on people and you had the upside down crosses and you took a shit on stage or whatever you do, like there's not what really is left to really jolt people.
Yeah.
Right.
To really get people like excited. So that is. Rock is kind of burning itself out with the public at large because they've lost that just isn't there. And I don't know how we get that back. I don't know if we do get that back. I have some thoughts on it a little bit later on we can talk about. But that is definitely an aspect to it. But where the cojones go
Nuts.
is with the rappers and the hip hop artists, because they're on stage with the big jewelry and the grabbing their things and talking about like the 7 chicks they banged before they got on stage and the 12 they're gonna bang after. You know what I mean? And they're sticking it to the man because they're singing about fuck the cops and all kind of stuff like that.
Yes.
And so it's funny, right? People immediately as rock started to tone down like their thing, people still wanted that thing, so they looked. Oh, okay, there's rappers.
Oh, there's raps. Yeah,
There's rap.
Rappers.
Yeah, so rap is and rap was and I remember like in the 90s and the early 2000s, like there was controversy about it. There was people that didn't want their kids to listen to rap lyrics. It was nobody was talking about rock lyrics.
Yeah, right.
It was rap lyrics. Oh my God, rap lyrics, rap lyrics.
Same thing from the 50s.
Yeah.
But now
exactly
It's a different genre.
So interesting, right? And then another big thing happens. MTV stops playing videos.
fuckos.
And that is when, and then it went, the music videos went to VH1, and that is when I really felt like they were saying, well, rock is kind of like for like the older generation, and the kids today want to see reality shows and things. And to be honest with you, from what I'm describing about rock right now, right? Don't reality shows sound more interesting than like a lot of stuff going on in mainstream rock,
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a problem, Lily. We need the danger somehow. We need that's the only way. That's the key component.
I mean, that's the reason I started listening.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you want something a little naughty.
Want to rebel.
So what do you got? You got anything? You want to add anything, or any guys jump in? I was trying to get Keith on the podcast, and he says he can't get the damn link to work. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like if I was to try to hook up Zoom right now, I'd have to stop everything I'm doing and try to figure it out because I haven't used that in a long time. So, brother, I'm sorry. We will try to work it out, man. I apologize. Go ahead. Anybody, you guys want to jump in on this, or?
You got something?
No, I'm just concerned about Keith.
Oh.
Well, let's not talk. We don't have to be. Come on.
No, but you're absolutely true. We had talked about radio back in our day. Right? Where you'd listen to the local rock station and you would hear, you'd hear Metallica, but then you'd hear like John Cougar.
Yeah.
And there was, and that's the way MTV was, And the thing about MTV was maybe you didn't like every video, but you sat through it in the hopes that something you liked was going to come on next. So you were exposed to all those different
You're making such a great point.
Yeah, you were exposed to all those different kind of musics and genres and all that good stuff. And but yeah, and when they stopped playing the videos, it was like all over.
Well, that brings the thing to the technology, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But there is something to be said for like a kind of wider musical tastes, or because even if you didn't like, here's what I found out. Like, even if you said you like you wanted to see the new Van Halen video,
right?
There's most of my friends like knew all the words to the Madonna song,
exactly.
That was big that week, or the Prince song, or the Michael Jackson song, because MTV played it, and you kind of ended up going like, yeah, this stuff's okay, it's all right.
I like this.
You didn't like get yourself like a shorts at first you did. But you had to act like that
way.
way.
I gotta sit through this.
Yeah,
you have to be there with your friends.
You're like tapping your toe. Yeah.
And like there's certain guys that like I can still picture in high school, who you would never confess that you like the Michael Jackson song,
right?
Like you would never, but you did.
They knew all.
Yeah. And you see them on Facebook now, and they're posting Whitney Houston videos and stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like
true.
Yeah, true. You know what I mean? So.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's like. That was like a really important thing. So you had the ability to have that kind of all together. I think like those like Bob FMs and stuff. They're trying to do a little bit more of that, and people like that. I don't think people are as narrow-minded about music as the corporate music business would like people to think. I think they have wider taste than we realize. I mean, just think about all the metal guys that like Johnny Cash. That's you know what I mean. So MTV stops playing videos, and around the same time, or a little bit before this kind of coincides, there's some big breakthroughs in technology, high-speed internet, and MP3. And when these two things come together, that was like a 1-2 punch for the music industry. And you had a lot of people, crying, piracy's ruining my band, piracy. Let me tell you, let me just straighten this out right now.
Yeah.
Downloading music for you to listen to,
Right.
or maybe even burn a CD so you can listen to your car, is not piracy.
Correct.
If you burn that CD and then you make 20 copies and you sell them for
sell 'em.
$5 a
Right.
piece so you can go buy beer that night,
Yep.
that's piracy.
Wait, you can do that? Yeah,
Excuse me.
I guess not.
So
legally.
you can't. It's terror. This word piracy just got overused. Everybody, it's a piracy. That's not piracy, okay? But it did, whatever it is, took massive amount of revenue out of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you may or may not be aware of, and I did not get into this because we're going to do a podcast on this at some point. The music business is also one of the most corrupt businesses in the history of business.
Yeah.
It is really riddled with organized crime, just really badly. You got organized crime people investing, in rock bands to launder drug money. It's like a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's a
yeah,
thing.
it really
It's not,
is.
and it's
Yeah.
not just like, oh, that happened a couple times. No, no, not at all. My next question to you guys is, so I think a lot of people said, and I remember talking to my buddy David Learn, he's the guy that made these paintings in my house. Him and I talking about, wow, how short-sighted is the music industry, how the record labels to not get in on this technology.
Right.
They seem to be really resisting it, right? There's all kind of lawsuits, Napster, Kazaa, you know what I mean? People got letters. Stu got a letter in the mail because he was downloading so much from Kazaa.
Yeah, really?
For
yeah,
real?
yeah, he got a letter in the mail. He should have kept it and framed it. It'd have
Yeah,
been
you should've.
funny.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome.
But they were. So we were always saying they were so short. So I can't believe. But do you think that? What do you think about that? Do you think they really were, or do you think there's something else going on?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this.
What's your thoughts on this, Lily?
Why wouldn't you want to get in on this and make more money?
Right.
So
Unless there's more money to be made by. And we just went through a pandemic, and we saw this happen in all kinds, with our big box stores, shutting down little hardware stores and little corner stores and stuff like that in favor of Target and Walmart and
Right,
places like
right.
that. What I'm kind of wondering now, looking at it back, there's an expression, when the pandemic came out, everybody says, a lot of people say, well, they say, never let a good crisis go to waste,
Yes.
And I'm kind of wondering if it wasn't let to go to hell, because what ended up happening is in the 90s, the independent record label really became a thing. A lot of bands started their own label, and then they would have some success, and some friends of theirs who they admired, thought were really good, say,
That's a
okay,
good
we'll
idea.
join our label.
Yeah.
And join our, so there was a lot of the indie record label thing was really, really huge. I attended a seminar at Borders Books in South Hills about starting your own record label in the
Interesting.
Wow.
90s, in the early,
Yeah.
in the 94, 5, something like that. And so this was a thing. There was and it was we don't need Columbia.
you don't need the big box.
We can kind of just do it.
Yeah.
On our own.
On
Yeah,
our own.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if somebody saw an opportunity to consolidate, because now there used to be tons of record labels. Now there's almost none. But
Right.
3, there's hardly any
Yeah.
at all. And this is a way to really, and listen to how music changed since then. Music has gotten way more like the pop charts, way more homogenized. Like it really has there's a certain thing that it just does, and it doesn't really do anything other than that. And they kind of get over with by doing songs that have lyrical controversy, like WAP. You know what I mean? And things like that, which I think is a kind of a novelty song. That isn't representative of like most pop music, by the way.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a novelty song. But it's so it was sold to us as the democratization of the music business. But what they really did was they made the people at the top really at the top. And they really narrowed it. There used to be a lot of mid-level, there were bands that like toured all the time and played big shows, and everybody went, like Foghat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They weren't necessarily the biggest band in the world, but a lot of people went to see them. They really enjoyed their shows. Yeah. They sold a lot of records. They didn't need to be but like those type of bands are kind of gone now. What you have now is you got the superstars. And then you've got like everybody else.
All these guys.
You don't really have too many like mid-level. The curve has changed. I'm trying to make the thing with my hands that those of you that are watching, they're listening and not watching, you won't understand what I'm doing. But if you imagine a graph where at the far reaches, it kind of comes up a little bit and then levels way off as it comes to, and then in the middle there's just there's like a point. and at that point is like the Taylor Swifts and the Justin Biebers and
No headaches. No, I'm just kidding.
and whoever the current and they don't last long like at all, like really don't last long. But in any case, so I have a sort of like I wrote that down. Labels are too short-sighted, and I thought about that, and then I started thinking, I wonder if like
there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah, that might be.
Somebody saw an opportunity and said, screw it. Let it all go to hell because we're going to make a shitload of money. We're going to absorb all the bands that we know do sell, and the ones that don't, we can just say, fuck them. We don't need them now.
Right?
So, there's certain people there I think are embarrassed to get, like, they couldn't fire Bob Dylan or Johnny Cash or people like that because, but when they die, they're not going to bring people like, you're not going to see those guys again. You're not going to see a Dylan or a Johnny Cash or anybody like that. You're not going to see those guys. Labels always would sign bands like that because it gave them cred. And they knew that like Dylan's fans were going to buy every record. It didn't matter. You know what I mean? He put out a Christmas record. It's terrible. One of the worst records I've ever heard. But his fans, his diehard fans, bought it.
Right.
Okay. So they knew that they had that market, but all that has gone away. And so we ended up with this sort of wild, wild west music business where I still don't think we know exactly where this is going. It's been let's say we're going to start with the advent of social media in like 2005, 7, something like that.
Right.
So since then, it's just 2022. I don't think we've really decided on how the music business is really going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, so why am I talking about this? Because when you don't have the structure that we had for 40 years in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, you can't really have big rock stars.
Right.
Okay? The media is gone. Like the main medium was radio. Okay? You listen to radio?
Nope.
You listen to radio?
Rock Rage.
No.
We listen to Rock Rage radio.
Which is internet.
So everybody's listening to internet radio stations, Spotify, YouTube, right?
Yep.
So satellite radio,
Sure.
which I suspect is hurting. They don't say it, but I suspect it doesn't have the listenership that it did when it first came out.
I agree with that. Because I quit it. So
yeah. So I think that you have, when you don't have that, who can turn somebody into a rock star? This very and so you have to fit a very narrow like style and look, and you got to be certain. I mean, if you get over 23 years old, I don't think that they're interested at all.
Right.
So that doesn't get, and there's no like, oh man, think about all the bands that like put out like a lot of records before they had their big breakout album. Like I think of a band like Kansas.
Right.
Right.
They put out like 4 or 5 records before
Exactly.
they really
Building
broke
up
out.
to
For the
that.
good one.
Yeah, before they really broke out with Leftoverture and became a big stadium band and toured, and all the stuff like that. But the labels kind of looked at it as an investment.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
We'll nurture these guys.
We're going to bring them up. And in the meantime, they had bands that were selling big. They had the Skinnards and stuff like that. So they were like, well, we'll give these guys a chance because these guys will fill, they'll jump into that if you give them enough time. All that's gone. That whole thing, like I remember hearing Frank Zappa talk about this one time about how and we sort of mentioned this earlier, that like in the early days of rock, like you had guys who were like they didn't even know what people were gonna like. They had no idea. They didn't even know who's gonna buy the records.
Right.
Like they had no clue. They just went like, I don't know. Let's bring that guy in. That was the what was his name? Sam Phillips.
Yep.
That was his sort of like whole thing. I don't know. I looked
give it a shot.
This guy looks for this Jerry Lee Lewis. He can play the piano pretty good. Let's bring him in. That Chess Records.
Yeah.
I don't know. They were just, so they had a more cowboy, adventurous kind of like way of going. Also, making records and stuff like that did not cost what it ended up costing.
Right.
Now, records became very, very expensive. We talked about the most expensive
Right.
albums ever made, right?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
So what do you do when you no longer have that? Like, where are those guys that are like, I'm going, there used to be A&R guys that would go out, they would hear, oh, there's a scene in Seattle. Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they signed a whole bunch of bands,
From Seattle.
They signed a whole bunch of bands. They hear that there's a scene or they hear there's a new sound or whatever. But none of that is happening. That is all over. And that is a lot of what rock really is, right? It's 4 guys in a room, banging it out, trying to hone their songwriting, trying to hone their playing. The playing is super important. It isn't just, what I mean? It isn't just like, because today we produce it all in a computer. So that is like, that's really hard. That doesn't, I'm not saying that's not happening. That's happening with me right now. I'm working with guys, we're in a room and we're trying to bang out music.
Right.
But that isn't happening on the Van Halen level.
Right.
You
That's
understand what I'm
not the
saying?
norm for the
That's
bigger
not
guys.
happening at that level. It's all hyper controlled. There's focus groups and stuff like that for
Yes.
songs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you ever been called and asked to listen to a song? I never have.
No, I haven't. I've been in stupid focus groups, not music ones.
They said that what I've heard is that they don't. So they'll have you listen to like a portion of like 3 songs, and they ask you, which one is your favorite, which one do you hate, and which one's like kind of okay. And they always pick. They pick the one that's just okay.
Really?
Interesting.
They don't pick the one because I guess the thought is that if they go with the ones that people think are
Like really good.
really good, that like it's going to burn out fast.
Oh. I guess.
Yeah.
And then the ones that people hate, they're not going to get a chance to. But they feel like
Get
the
off the
ones
list.
that they feel like the ones that are in the middle, that like if they play them
that's
enough,
a safe bet.
that if they it's safe. You know what I mean? And also, I think too, the idea is if people really, really love it, they probably also know there's just as many people that really, really hate it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Interesting.
you can't. So we have a completely like different. You just can't. And I don't know if you guys are getting the point that I'm making here. You can't have a Springsteen with what we're doing now. You can't have a Prince. You can't have a David Bowie. You can't have a John Mellencamp. You can't have Led Zeppelin. You can't have Metallica. You just can't. It's not that there aren't amazing bands that are out there making music right now. I'm not talking about that. So I'm not saying that these bands don't exist. I'm saying that like making them rock stars, like making
Taking
them
them to the level.
Yeah, making them household names.
Yeah.
Getting their posters all over the place, and everybody drawing their logos on their notebooks in school.
Right.
And all that. Like there's just like ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we know we can design music. That like where we have a really good shot at we can do it cheap because we can do it in a fucking computer, and we don't really need all this stuff. You know, we can make it fast. We can get it. We can get it out.
Yep.
And who cares? And they're throwaway artists.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm sorry, man. You know, your record didn't sell good. There's like
Because everybody wants the new.
there's 10 other, like 100 other guys twice as good looking as you.
In line for
Yep, and that's the
next
thing
big
too. Good looking. There's a quote that goes around on social media sometimes. It says, "Music was a lot better when ugly people were allowed to make it."
And you know what? I literally just got into a discussion about that with
Right.
Sissy over the weekend because we're
Yeah.
all like, so who's the rock star that you have a crush on that maybe isn't attractive, but you love their music and that's why you got into them? So Steven Tyler for me is like the whole thing. So, but that didn't matter what he looked like because he freaking rocked and the music
Yes.
was great.
Yeah.
So I can't. Her Lizzie Borden's hers.
Okay, so like that when you have this climate we're having, so are you guys getting the picture now of like?
Yeah.
There's a lot more going on to this. It isn't just grunge. It isn't just hip hop. Blah 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 blah. There's like business, socioeconomic thing, which I want to talk about real quick. The world changed too.
What? Did it?
The Berlin Wall comes down.
Right.
Okay. So that definitely affects the landscape of what's going now. You know, it opens up other markets, all kind of different things begin to change. 9/11 happens. Okay. And then it's just more and more and more corporate consolidation.
Right.
You know, just like more and more resources going to fewer and fewer groups. So these things are all coming at rock. These are all things that like make it tough for rock. Then music becomes super cheap and easy.
Yes.
As
Like
you
the-
said, yes.
Yeah. Who was the girl who did in school who was cheap and easy, Kevin?
Oh boy, I don't know who that is.
It was a teacher.
Oh,
Let me ask you this.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you this.
I'm not saying a word about
When
that
you
one.
bought an album
Right?
and you put down your hard-earned $7.99 or
Remember
whatever,
that? Yeah.
even if that album wasn't all that great, you really gave it a try.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Because like
'Cause I
you
paid
couldn't,
for it.
you paid for it, and you couldn't just go out and buy another album.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, there were different opportunities that showed up in magazines where you could get several albums for like one price or whatever.
I think I stole them money.
The Columbia,
It was well worth
Columbia
every
House.
penny.
but
great.
even that is nothing compared to what we can do today, right? We were talking about
my
Fourth.
gosh,
We're
yeah.
celebrating 4th of July here, watching the fireworks, and I just put a Spotify mix on.
Yeah.
So it was like, and
That
the
would have
music
cost
was
us $300 back in the day.
maybe even more. I mean, like it was, and we enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
all music we liked
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like that. But I didn't go out and buy every one of those albums.
No, sir, you did not.
So again, you don't have that influx of funds at those like mid levels. Like one of the we were listening to like people like Pat Travers,
Right?
who's like great, but he wasn't at the Sammy Hagar level. He
Right.
wasn't
Exactly.
at the Robert Plant level or whatever. He was like a kind of a mid-level band that he had his following and maybe probably converted some new fans here and there. But you're not going to have that now. You just can't because you don't have people buying those records. So a guy like Pat Travers, how is he doing? If Taylor Swift ain't making dick on downloads, what do you think of somebody like
Somebody
Pat
like him,
Travers
yeah.
is doing?
Right?
Horrible.
And I apologize. I don't even know if Pat Travers is still alive.
Oh, man.
Dead.
Probably listening.
And I'm just pulling that out as an example of one of those guys who's like really cool, had a good sound, but it was kind of like just a mid-level band.
Right.
And we have to like qualify that by saying that there's only so much room on the radio. Okay. So I think what we have now is we have a music business that is really kind of flattened out at a level, and then there's a big spike in the middle, and that's just doesn't give a lot of opportunity for anything innovative, different, dangerous. Right? I liked when my rock stars, crashed their cars and threw televisions out of
Right.
windows and
That's what
trash
I want to
totes out.
do.
Yeah. So, and
That's
anyway,
the appeal.
and I mentioned this, no danger, of course. Music is cheap and easy. Sure. Then because nobody can make any money,
Oh, here we go.
concert ticket prices soar.
Holy
They're
moly.
crazy.
They are ridiculous.
Okay, Lily goes to a lot of shows.
I do.
God bless you.
Last big show you went to, what was the tickets?
Oh, Lou, I don't pay for tickets.
You didn't pay for them, but what were they?
Um,
You got an idea.
probably like $80. And it
No,
was
probably-
it was not a bigger band; it was a smaller.
What do you
band.
think? Like Aerosmith, if they were to tour?
Oh, that's at least $250.
Yeah.
That's at least $250.
Yeah.
In fact,
I
I,
mean-
know it is because I want to go see them in
I
Boston.
was dating a girl. I had broke up with this girl because she wanted me to buy her U2 tickets.
Yeah.
They were $300 a piece. I ghosted her. I did. I'm like, I can never talk to you again.
Actually,
I'm like,
I do know that the Eagles were minimum $200. Minimum
Exactly.
$200 ticket. So I do know that because I wanted to go, and I didn't.
so
I was not justifying
so
that.
So Pat Travers, not picking on you. Pat Travers cannot sell tickets for $300 a piece.
No.
So this really hurts him. You see a lot of bands that tour now, not as bands at all. The guy goes out and plays
Right.
acoustic because it's freaking expensive.
Yeah.
Or you see artists coming out of Ed Sheeran started with this using a looper.
Yeah. Right?
Someone's asking me about the crew ticket prices. Oh, Bill Damiano. Have you priced the crew poison at all? Yeah, they range from like $75 to $2,000 depending on where you want to sit.
Not 200. $2,000 is
Yeah.
2,000.
$2,000.
Okay, so now rock is kind of becoming an exclusive thing for rich people, and that's not what rock was ever meant to be about.
That's not what it was for.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons why it is getting put into this box as like old people music, because while the rich old folks can go see this, I can't go see something like this. Somebody mentioned that can't remember. One of you guys mentioned something about like the age group,
Right. Of the rockers.
of rockers. They're
The Gen Y and Gen Z have zero taste in music. Is that the one you're looking at? Is that the one?
I don't know if they have
There was
zero.
another one saying the rockers are in their 50s and
Yeah.
70s now.
Oh, there it is. Most rock stars are now in their 50s
Yeah.
and 70s. There are very few who are younger, unlike when I was a kid. That was Michael Goltz.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and then I'm gonna make. I want to talk about the smartphone, which is a giant step backwards for both audio entertainment and video entertainment. You got people watching like amazing movies like The Godfather on their fucking phones.
How can you say anything?
Like-
It's driving us crazy.
and I know that like the smartphone like audio has gotten better. You know what I mean? But it's still just a cut above the old. Now you kids won't remember this, but Bill Damiano, I know you know this. Michael Goltz, you know this. Vince Ornato, you remember this. The transistor
The radio.
radio with
I
the
was thinking
one
about that
speaker
the other day.
you held up to
Yeah.
your ear. That's essentially what this
What
is.
that is, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's
Unless you're
essentially-
hooking it into some Bluetooth speaker
really
at
no-
home. that's
or
like-
you have really good earbuds.
Yeah. Right?
And even those things aren't really producing the sound
No,
the way
that
it's
you
meant to
need.
be heard.
Yeah.
Right.
So now, like, how can you rock out to that?
You can't.
How can you yeah?
Can't. I'm sorry.
You can't do it.
I was like addicted to like the Crutchfield catalog and everything, man. Like I was like totally wanted
I need
like
that
more
turntable.
massive sound, you know.
That,
Well, you
amplifier.
have a whole pages of notes. Why don't you jump in with something?
Oh no, this is for my new notable. I was just getting ready.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at
We
you.
really just went through the whole timeline of what you were
So
talking
let's.
about.
So this is what Lily was mentioning earlier. So rock goes underground, okay, and it is becomes more of a niche thing, and you can go to greasy clubs like the Smiling Moose and places like that, and hear sweaty, nasty rock bands. place. So they're not. It's not that they're out. It's not that they're not there. It's fucking everywhere. Actually, I'm sure whatever city you're in, there's there are rock shows. There's kids. As I was saying at the beginning, the guitar sales are the highest they've ever been. So, and then rock is also on YouTube, big time. We're going to do a podcast coming up on YouTubers that either should be rock stars or would have been rock stars.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one.
But it is there. It's kind of underground. And those of you that listen to us know we're going to do new and notable in a couple minutes. That this is how we do it now. But because things are so spread out, we've got this flattened out thing. It doesn't allow for artists to be able to reach that notoriety unless they are like Taylor Swift or somebody like that. They can't, they've got to break big on American Idol or something like that.
Right.
And that's not what these guys are never going to do that. I mean, I'm just thinking of some of the bands right now, the legendary Hucklebucks. They're a band from Pittsburgh.
yeah.
Freaking killer band.
Yeah.
Killer band. They're never, but like
sadly.
it would take somebody who recognized how awesome they were with some money to kind of invest in them and get them to put out maybe an EP.
Uh-huh.
And let's work that up. And then like, okay, let's bring a producer in. We'll like maybe tweak the songwriting around a little bit better for the next
Right,
one. And
right.
like, and then really that's what
Nurture them.
Yeah,
and-
this is, dude. This is not like fucking. It's not like selling fucking town talk at Isley's.
right?
Okay, like
Dining at Isley's and that.
this is fucking art. You can't do what you're doing. It's not gonna work. You're not gonna. This is why there's kind of like the rock scene is kind of like, and we see it. Lily, we go to shows and we see
shows
these
every
little
weekend.
bands that are like, oh, damn, you
They're
guys are really
awesome.
fucking good.
I say that
what I
all
mean?
the time. I say that Pittsburgh has a huge rock scene, but nobody
Yeah,
gets to see
but-
them because
yeah.
it's Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
And they're not. I mean, they're pushing it out there. It's just not, like you said, it's not what it was.
Yeah. So, I just, it is there. It's not there, and so I think unless. It's a lot of people think that NFT, and I'm sorry, maybe somebody could pull it up real quick. Well, I don't remember what that stands for. That NFT is going to save everything.
Some tokens.
Non-fungible token.
Fungible tokens.
Fungible. Funge.
You're buying nothing.
Yeah.
You're buying nothing,
And
sir.
supposedly, like it, a lot of people are like, oh well, it can't be duplicated, so it's like makes it more special. I don't think that's gonna work.
Nope.
I don't think that. I think that you're fooling yourself with that. I think what you have to do is, I think that it has been figured out. I think that there are bands that have figured it out, and it is these micro indie bands. And like the artist Leah, who is she does Celtic folk metal.
Yo, no, I love that
Okay.
stuff.
Okay, she has
All
Celtic
right,
folk
then.
metal, but she creates an entire experience with her music. It's very kind of Game of Thrones, and all the artwork and everything is dragons, and she's attractive, but she is a mother of like 6 kids
Right.
too, so she's not, like she's not a supermodel, but
Right.
you know what I mean, but and so all her, marketing and branding has her standing here with the sword and, on the, the rocks in front of the whatever. I'm saying.
There's quite a few bands.
So
like that.
so what I'm saying, like, you're gonna have to do something like that. You're not that, but you're gonna have to do something that gets people to like come into like an experience. And the people that have figured out how to do that, how to create an experience, that's what we're trying to do here, is kind of create an experience for you.
It's an experience, all right.
It's an experience. I'm experiencing something right now.
Oh, boy.
I do feel bad about Keith, man. I hope he's not
I
pissed. I
know.
mean, I love him dearly, and I've been doing these using Restream to work with other people, and I've only had one other person have a problem, and I was like, man, I thought, well, maybe Keith and I should try it out. I should have tried it out. I
should have
apologize.
tried it out.
So Keith, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. In any case,
luck here.
I know. But anyways, let's get back to what we were talking about. So that is the name of the game is to create an experience and bring people into that. I think that like rockers have to look at what like YouTubers are doing. That's all the big YouTube channels, the guys that like grew it up. Like they filled a niche. They created an experience, a unique experience for the people that watched and engaged with them. And that's how they grew their channels. And that's how I think that's the only way you're going to do it right now, that it's not going to be so much about selling records. And if you got 100 people to buy $1,000 worth of your crap every year, how much money would you make?
Oh, I'm not.
$100,000 fucking dollars. I mean, you think you okay? Do you okay? So Lily, I'm just gonna use you an example.
Oh,
I'm gonna use you.
That's
Nice.
You like getting used.
That's hot.
So a band you really like,
Aerosmith.
Okay.
and they were coming out. You could see probably self over a course of a year, maybe spending close to $1,000 if they had a really cool shit.
Oh, no doubt. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I'm going to tell you that right now.
So all you need is 100 people like Lily.
We should have 100 people like me anyway, but yes.
Yeah, we should.
So that's kind of the model that, but these bands become micro indie and they don't have, and at that level, yes, they're going to be able to make the music they like. They're going to be able to have a fan base. They're going to be able to somewhat support themselves, but they're not going to be able to become like Prince.
Right.
They're just, that isn't like, that's out of reach. And I'm not sure how we get that back. Do we need to get that back? I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people feel like rock is kind of going the way of jazz.
No.
You just broke my heart into a million pieces.
Should we just let it go?
No.
Oh, hell no.
No. It's my whole life. It's my lifeblood.
I've been talking so much, I haven't done any sound
Thank
effects.
goodness for that.
See? Good topic tonight.
So distracted. He doesn't play with his little game over there.
But I have some ideas. I just like have a crazy idea
Oh, boy.
about
What
rock.
is it?
I think
I
that,
want to know.
I think that it isn't beyond the realm of possibility that rock and country could merge. And I'm not talking about Southern rock.
No.
I'm just talking
mean
as like
differently?
those are both genres of music that like are guitar driven, guitar oriented. And think about so many of the, and I know you don't probably listen to a lot of modern country, but I run across it here and there. And if you took out the pedal steel,
right?
the fiddle, and the banjo, you would have
It's rock.
You would have a rock band.
Yeah.
It's rock.
There's that.
And even the singing on a lot of modern country has no Southern drawl at all.
Right.
Like at fucking all. So I'm kind of wondering if this is where rock is going to kind of like, rock and country are going to kind of become the same thing.
well,
They're
Brantley
gonna
Gilbert
become-
has sort of done something like that.
They're going to become strange bedfellows.
I studied on it. Quite a bit. I mean, people that like Rascal Flatts also love AC/DC.
Yeah,
Right?
legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
So I could see where there could be some kind of, we tried getting rock and hip hop together. And yes, there's some great bands. Korn, Linkin Park, a lot of these bands are very, very cool. But it's something contrived about it or something.
Yes.
It doesn't, I don't know. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. I don't know. And I want to know whatever, we have tons of comments. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. I want to say shout out to Wolf's Customs. Go to wolfscustoms.online. Rockrageradio.com. Download the free. Lily keeps credit. She says, you didn't tell them it was free.
It's free. It's my second favorite four-letter F word.
It's fucking free, motherfuckers.
Whoa.
We were talking last week, saying that like, this is why we're not big on YouTube because of swearing.
Oh,
Fuck.
They hate that.
people.
They hate
Oh,
that.
wow.
They fucking. Well, we're going to Rumble. I'm gonna put it. We're going to put us up on Rumble. Rumble has no restrictions.
No filters.
About language or
I
anything.
can perform topless.
As long as you don't, you could.
Me too.
What?
As long as you don't, you can't do anything like they didn't like telling people to like go blow up whatever. You can't
Right.
do that.
No,
You
never
can't.
do all
You
the
can't
stupid
tell
things.
people to
Sure.
like. You can't like in regular print. You can't slander and libel.
No.
And there's things like that. But other
Sure.
than that, they're like you say whatever you want.
Nice.
We don't
like
care.
that.
We don't
I
care.
like
You know.
that idea.
And I think with all the restrictions on the other platforms, I think this Rumble I think is going to explode. But anyways, we are going to start putting the podcast on Rumble and just kind of see what happens. So let's move on to new and notable. This is a new segment we started I don't know about a month or so ago, and I find it really fun. And
Super fun.
we'd like to one of the issues, and we didn't talk about this, is the curators. You know, there used to be curators, people like Mark Goodman and Alan Hunter and those what was her name?
I don't know who you're trying to talk about.
I'm talking about the VJs on MTV.
Oh, yeah. You know, I hate when you ask me that. I know who you mean. Martha.
Martha Quinn.
Thank you.
Martha Quinn. And people like that. And your favorite DJs on the radio, those guys were and ladies were curators. You would listen to them to hear what was cool.
That's why people listen
You
to
don't
me.
because there's so much music out. And so one of the issues we have right now is the curation. We're not sure how to do the curation yet. And there's some people that have some interesting ideas. There's some YouTube channels that are really interesting. There's of course just podcasts. I go to Rockin' Pod every time they have it in Nashville, and we've been talking about this for years. But so here at the circus, we're like, let's do some curating. Let's introduce the folks to maybe some bands and artists that maybe they haven't heard. Now, the kick in the pants with this is I can't play the music. That is the problem with podcasts, and this is something that people are trying to figure out how we make this all work, because podcasts for the most part, especially small podcasts like us, don't like, I mean, it's a labor of love. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
We do it because we love fucking music. That's why we're doing it. We're not, making any money. We want to bring an aspect of that to you guys. So we're going to talk about a couple bands. So go ahead. Lily's got a cool band.
So Wild Street, I know a lot of people have heard of them. They probably have seen them. They began in 2006 and released their self-titled debut album on Retrospect Records. They have done so many festivals, Rocklahoma for 5 years, SXSW and M3 Rock Festival. They rocked alongside Black Veil Brides, Veins of Jenna, The Bouncing Souls, The Last Vegas, Twisted Sister, Michael Monroe. It's countless how many people they've been with on stage. It's wonderful. But in 2021, they released their massive album 3, which has nearly 1.8 million streams on
Wow,
Spotify.
cool.
And the music video for the epic single Mother. After spending most of the year on tour in the U.S., 100 plus shows, they also toured Europe, bringing their music to fans in Switzerland and France for the first time. They concluded the year releasing their cover of the 69 Eyes song, Mrs. Sleazy. Now, they are a little sleazy, which is what I like about this band. They're fantastic. Yes.
Honk.
I have seen them twice. It's very rock and roll. Yes, all that. Whatever. I hate you guys so
What? What do you
much.
mean?
I didn't get a chance to play with my toys
I know.
because I had to talk.
Gosh.
But if you they are currently on tour. If you do get a chance to see them, I definitely recommend it. It's a great stage show. They're fun. They will talk to you afterwards. They will sign whatever.
Now,
Take
what
photos.
kind of venues are they playing?
So they are playing smaller venues right now. So like Brandy's Basement, the Subalpine. There was that place in Uniontown. I can never remember the name of it, and I feel bad about it. But smaller stuff. But they could definitely play.
You think they could
I
do
think they
like
could-
like the Craft House or Jerkles?
Oh, they absolutely.
Oh,
could.
nice.
They absolutely.
Okay, cool, good.
Wild Street.
Very good. Speaking of curators, I was listening to a curator on YouTube talk about this.
Did you get cured?
I did get cured
That's great.
from my radar. So something, and I want to do a podcast on this band. This is Styx's 50th anniversary this year.
Oh.
And a lot of folks don't. Styx is a weird band because they fired the guy that started the band, and they won't do any of his songs, and so they're like the biggest hits that they ever had.
Oh, okay.
And they don't play them live. Like they don't play Mr. Roboto live.
Oh yeah, no, I've never heard that one. I saw
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I mean, they won't. JY says he hates that song. And anyways, so Dennis DeYoung, who's the guy that they fired, who wrote all those songs. But they do Come Sail Away and things like that. But anyways, they don't do Babe.
No.
They don't do Don't Let It End. That's a great song. But in any case, so Dennis DeYoung, of course, like he's like, fuck you guys. I'm going out and playing, and I'm going to play my songs. And he puts together a killer band. And he brings in this guitar player. His name is August Zadra.
Okay.
And you have to listen to him. Go check him out.
I'll write it down.
He's really good. He's got an amazing voice. So there's a lot of comparisons to him and Tommy Shaw because he has this giant, super huge range. I mean, he's like, he could be the singer in fucking Styx. Like, he's got a great fucking voice. And he's a monster guitar player.
Nice.
Monster. And his stuff is very, very cool. It's, I don't know how to explain it. It definitely is rooted in that 70s, 80s kind of rock kind of sound, but that's not really what he's doing. It's not, when you don't listen to it and go like, that's the throwback. You're not doing that. You know what I mean? You know, you remember when the Stray Cats came out?
Yes, sir.
Showing my age, but everybody was like, it was kind of a novelty, right?
Right.
They were great,
Yeah.
but they were kind of like, that's a 50s rock and roll
yeah.
thing. It's not really related to anything else on the radio. It was like when there was the revival of the big band sounds with the Squirrel Nut
sure.
Zippers and those.
Oh my God,
that
I
type
love
of
that.
Well, speaking of the Stray Cats, Brian Setzer Orchestra, like,
Right.
you know, they had big songs on pop radio.
Cherry Pop and Daddies.
Cherry Pop and Daddies, bands like that. So there was, but those again were kind of like novelty kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, that's so he's not like doing anything like that. It is sounds very, for lack of a better word, sounds very today. It doesn't, but you could tell his roots are in that, and because of the great guitar playing. So August Zadra, just go to YouTube and listen to anything. I'm really interested in hearing the song "Mother" by Wild Street.
You'll like it. You'll like anything by that.
It's
honestly.
not a remake of Mother.
No.
Tell your children not to look
No,
my
it is
way.
not a cover.
Mommy, mama, mama.
Okay, that's really creepy, and you need to stop it like right now.
Stop it.
Mama.
Yes, I can.
What are you doing now?
Just grab me a drink.
Hey, bartender. Well, maybe we're gonna change your name to Lloyd instead of Kevin. So, oh my God.
That flame will be an eternal flame coming out of the butthole of every sodomite.
Wow, those poor sodomites. I feel bad for them. They're just trying to do their thing, and now they're gonna have flames coming out of their buttholes. It's crazy.
I was listening to our podcast from the other day, and you're calling that poor guy Michael Sodomite.
Oh my God.
Sondheim or something like that.
Steven Sodomite.
That's a stupid sodomite, not Michael.
Steven Sodomite.
Michael Sodomite's a whole other ball.
So,
boy.
so we're gonna get into comments and this day and what the Beatles did.
You're gonna have to look at your comments because mine are gone.
I have to say this.
Yes.
I just picked I know I'm not gonna like go into too long with this, but this is a fun song. I remember hearing. So we talked about there were other times when people said rock was dead. There was a period in the '70s
Yeah.
where people rock is dead. And then punk rock came out and kind of revived it. There's a funny interview with the guys from Depeche Mode saying like guitar bands are over. I think that Depeche Mode has a guitarist in the band now.
Well,
You know, that's
see?
probably accurate.
But in any case, this is the song. The song was recorded in the early summer of '72 and first appeared on Odds and Sods from 1974 from The Who. The band originally planning on releasing the song as a single in '72, but Pete Townsend wanted to use it for an album about The Who's history titled Rock is Dead, Long Live Rock. In the end, he wrote Quadrophenia instead. The song was finally released as a single on April 1st in '79 with My Wife. That's a John Entwistle song. And I'm the Face on some versions too on the flip side. So this is Rock, Long Live Rock by The Who. And again, this is a snapshot because at this time people were like, rock is so. What was his name? Famous rock critic. He's portrayed by Philip Seymour Hoffman in in Almost Famous. Lester Bangs.
Ah,
Lester Bangs
yes,
was
yes,
famous for
yes.
saying, like in the 70s, "Oh, rock's over." Don't listen to that garbage. Down at the Astoria, the scene was changing. Bingo and Rock were pushing out X rating. We were the first band to vomit in the bar. I always thought, is he saying we were the first band to vomit in the bar? That's exactly what the words are. We were the first band to vomit in the bar and find the distance to the stage too far. In other words, they would get fucked up, puke, and say, we don't feel like playing. Meanwhile, it's getting late at 10 o'clock. Rock is dead, they say. Long live rock. Long live rock. I need it every night. Long live rock. Come on and join the line. Long live rock, be it dead or alive. People walk in sideways pretending that they're leaving. We put on our makeup and work out all the lead-ins. Jack is in the alley selling tickets made in Hong Kong. Promoters in the pay box wondering where the band's gone. Back in the pub, the governor stops the clock. Rock is dead, they say. Long live rock. Landslide, rocks are falling down around our very heads. We tried, but you were yawning. Look again, rock is dead, rock is dead, rock is dead. The place is really jumping to the high-watt amps until a 20-inch cymbal fell and cut the lamps. In the blackout, they dance right to the aisle, and as the doors fly open, even the promoter smiles. Someone takes his pants off, and the rafters knock. Rock is dead, they say. Long live rock. It's a kind of song about, like, people saying that rock is dead, but then something wacky happens. Some guy takes his pants off, and, like, that's what rock is about, though.
Yeah,
It is about this sort of, like, danger, acting crazy. Anything could happen. You never knew what was going to happen at a rock show.
I don't think I've
Bands
ever
did
taken
all
my
bands
pants off.
did all kinds of. There were certain bands that were really famous for just launching into anything.
Right.
Tom Petty and Heartbreakers were a band that would launch into anything. When I saw them, they launched into "Should I Stay or Should I Go" by The Clash.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
Very cool.
It was not a song in their set.
But they like that.
But who cares?
Yeah,
Said.
he said. Tom Petty said that they learned to get good at that when they played with Bob Dylan.
Oh, yeah,
Dylan
yeah.
never worked the set list.
Right.
He just called out tunes.
That's cool.
Or he would just start playing.
Yeah.
And they had to figure out what he was doing. But in any case, so
That's your job.
yeah, it's a fun song. I remember hearing it as a kid, going,
yeah.
No, rock isn't dead. What are you doing? I love rock. Don't say it's not dead." And little did I know what was about to happen, what was going to happen many years later.
Whoops.
Exactly. I gotta get these sound clips out, man. Thank you. Whew.
You have to.
Oh my gosh, it's like
I'm losing my
certain-
mind. I feel
Do you
like
have a quota?
He does have a quota.
oh my god.
What are you doing over
I
there?
never did that one before. I like
I
that.
know. I like that one.
That sounds like this.
Exactly, Lou. Exactly.
That's actually the sound that it does make when I masturbate. Did you know
Well, that's
that?
'cause you're
didn't
old.
know.
It makes
Yeah,
that sound.
very
That's a
old now.
sample of that.
It's very old.
Um,
You need lube. A little lube there.
Sounds like that might hurt after a while.
you need lube.
What else do we need?
Of every sodomite, there'll be a flame coming out of the butthole,
That's
and you'll
exactly.
need an asbestos diaper.
Asbestos.
Asbestos.
Hey, asbestos. It's not
love that.
asbestos. It's asbestos.
Asbestos. You have to call the ambulance.
Oh my god.
Asbestos.
Making my brain
I
hurt.
need an asbestos diaper. Diaper. I like when people pronounce diaper where they say like the I and the A.
Right. Diaper.
Diaper.
Asbestos diaper.
Asbestos.
Sick.
I called old asbestos on the phone last night. What you doing? He said, I studied on killing on you. I studied on it quite a bit.
Wow.
That feels
All
better.
right?
That
You
feels
feel
better.
better?
Yeah, I'm getting it all out. So
Clear that out.
this day in what the Beatles did.
Day in music.
I like how you did that.
I am
like
going to
that?
surprise you guys with some stuff. I got some things in the
Okay.
works.
All right.
Okay, no, we don't start with the Beatles start with Elvis
Seattle's.
working together for the first time in the recording studio with Scotty Moore, Bill Black. Elvis Presley fools around during a break with an up-tempo version of That's All Right. Producer Sam Phillips has them repeat the jam and records it. It became Presley's first release on Sun Records.
And there's Sam Phillips. We were talking
And
about
we're
him
talking about
earlier.
Sam Phillips, and this is the idea. They're just
Exactly.
screwing around, bring these guys in, what they can. I think that
Like that.
I think what Sam could recognize in people is like the charisma. You know what I mean? He looked at somebody like he looked at Elvis Presley. He looked at Jerry Lee Lewis. He looked at Conway Twitty and Charlie Rich and those guys and thought, man, like these guys, like they got it. Like they know they can work a crowd.
Exactly.
You want to read the Beatles one? 1963, the Beatles played at the Plaza Ballroom in Dudley in the West Midlands. Appearing the Beatles was Denny and the Diplomats, led by Denny Lane, who went on to join the Moody Blues, and eventually Paul McCartney's group Wings.
Wangs.
Wangs.
Do you want to do it one?
No, I don't want to.
This day, 1965, Jefferson Airplane. Marty Ballin and Paul Kantner formed a folk rock group that would evolve into the Jefferson Airplane, the premier San Francisco psychedelic band of the late 60s. The Airplane made its debut the following month at the Haight-Ashbury Club and was signed to RCA later in the year.
Talk about RCA.
Again, RCA,
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
1966, Jimi Hendrix, on the recommendation of Rolling Stone Keith Richards' girlfriend Chaz Chandler from The Animals, went to see Jimi Hendrix play at the Cafe Wha in New York City. Chandler suggested Hendrix should come to England, which he does, and Chandler became his manager.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, Chaz Chandler from The Animals becomes Jimi Hendrix's manager. It's fun. It's like kind of a fun fact.
It is a fun fact.
Brian Jones! The Rolling Stones gave a free concert this day in
nice of them.
1969 at London's Hyde Park before an audience of 250,000, dude. As a tribute to Brian Jones, who had died 2 days earlier, Mick Jagger read an extract from Percy Shelley's Adonis and released 3,500 Butterflies. It was also guitarist Mick Taylor's debut with the Stones. King Crimson, Family, the Third Ear Band, Screw, and Alexis Corner's New Church also appeared that day. There is this has been filmed.
Yeah.
And this,
Oh,
you can watch on YouTube.
Oh,
Mick Jones seems like he's not, Mick Taylor seems like he's not quite, but he's an awesome guitar player. He's a really good musician. And there are famous people in the audience, like Paul McCartney is in the audience.
Cool.
I think
No pressure.
I think Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy Page might be in the audience, or maybe Robert Plant. Like there's they find the cameras find them and show them.
I
It's
love
really
that.
cool. It's
I
very
love
very cool.
watching shit like that.
I never saw any of the other bands, but I did see the Stones did release it like on VHS or something like that.
That's very cool. 1975, Roy Harper, Pink Floyd, this is a dumb one. Captain Beefheart and Steve Miller and Roy Harper all appeared at the Nebworth Festival, England. Tickets cost £3.50. Pink Floyd premiered their new album, Wish You Were Here, with the help of Spitfires, pyrotechnics, and an exploding plane which flies into the stage, which they always have.
That's
so much fun
fucking
stuff.
cool, huh?
See, that's what we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
We like the fun stuff.
Craziness.
Well, Gene Simmons criticized the sort of 90s like version of rock because the stages, he was like, the stages are dark. The guys get up on stage, they look like you can't tell if they're members of the crew.
They're the unwashed.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or like homeless people. On this day, the great unwashed. I'm going to wash you.
Yeah, please do.
1979, Keith Richards. Rolling Stone, Keith Richards was arrested by the Highway Patrol, working for the Highway Patrol in Arkansas on charges.
It's Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Pronounce it right, please.
On charges of reckless driving and possessing an offensive weapon. Oh, offensive. That could be, was that like a reference to his wiener?
I kind of feel like it was.
Wow.
Put that offensive weapon away. Go ahead, another Rolling Stone.
In 1978, the Rolling Stones, the manufacturing of Some Girls, the new album by the Rolling Stones, was halted at EMI's pressing plant after complaints from celebrities, including Lucille Ball, who were featured in mock advertisements on the album sleeve. Stop yourself, Lucy. We love you.
Lucy?
No sé. You have some explaining
Explaining
to
to
do.
Yo, Akasa splaining. This day in 1986, moving forward in time, Janet Jackson started a 2-week run at number 1 on the U.S. album chart with Control. I got to get into control. The album featured the hit singles What Have You Done For Me Lately?
I know all these songs. I know
And
all of these.
Exactly.
Nasty.
That's what we're talking about. You know them.
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
I am nasty, Miss Jackson.
Control, When I Think of You, and Let's Wait a While. I believe this is one of those albums. It was produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They had a real good ear. And this was a hot album. This was inescapable. Like it was freaking everywhere. Go ahead.
You want me to do
Yes.
95?
Not dead.
1995, Grateful Dead, more than 1,000, oh my gosh, 100 Grateful Dead fans were hurt when a wooden deck collapsed on a campground lodge in Wentzville, Missouri. Hundreds of people were on or under the deck sheltering from heavy rain. More than 4,000 Deadheads were staying at the campground while attending Grateful Dead concerts in the St. Louis suburb.
Speaking of bands that played stadiums and the Grateful Dead, the Grateful Dead released one final live DVD concert.
Oh, yeah?
And it's at Three Rivers fucking Stadium.
Is it really? That's cool.
Yes!
Skinner
I
did
think-
that. Skinner did, they have a live DVD from what was Star Lake at the time.
Ah, really?
Live from Steel
Still
Town.
Star Lake.
Um,
Calm
know,
down.
it
Boy,
always
back
will
to
be.
Starlight.
It is.
It's Star Lake.
It's the pavilion at Star Lake.
I think that Eric was at that show. That
Really?
Dead show. I'm pretty sure he
bet.
was. 99, the Eurythmics announced their first world tour for more than 10 years, and all the profits will be given to charity. So the $12 they were going to make after.
Right.
The duo made an announcement from the Greenpeace boat, Rainbow Warrior. Oh, God. All right, I'm done with you.
I'm
You
not-
lost
I'm
me
not
at
reading that
you
one.
lost me at Rainbow Warrior.
I'm not reading that one or that one.
You want to talk about JC?
Jesus Christ. What?
Well, about this
JC?
kind of.
Yep.
2003, Johnny Cash made his last ever live performance when he appeared at the Carter Ranch. Before singing Ring of Fire, Cash read a statement about his late wife that he had written shortly before taking the stage. The spirit of June Carter overshadows me tonight with the love she had for me and the love I have for her. Oh.
He was not going to last long after she passed
No,
away,
no.
man. No way.
Connect somewhere between here and heaven. Oh my God. She came down for a short visit, I guess, from heaven to visit with me tonight to give me courage and inspiration like she always has. Cash died on September 12th of this year. Oh, he's so sweet.
Yeah, he didn't. He followed her to heaven like pretty quick.
Yeah, he
Michael Goltz, are you listening? David Gilmour. He has a dog named Gilmour. 05. David Gilmour said artists who had seen album sales soar after the Live 8 concerts should donate their profits to charity, saying this is money that should be used to save lives. Okay, good for you. I hope that it all worked out. You want to talk about Michael J?
Michael J. Not Fox. 2009, Michael Jackson started a 7-week run at number 1 in the UK album charts with the
That's
Essential.
Mr. Jackson if you're nasty.
Right. The Essential Michael Jackson was one of the 8 Jackson albums in the top 20 after the singer's death on June 25th.
That's heavy, Doc.
2012, Ronnie Wood.
Oh, Ronnie
For the
Wood.
second year in a row, Rolling Stones guitarist Ronnie Wood was honored in 2 categories at the annual Arakiva Commercial Radio Awards. The 65-year-old won the Specialist Program of the Year award for his Absolute radio show and saw his weekly guest slot named Best Feature. Absolute also took the Station of the Year, so I did not realize that.
I'm not reading the Grateful
You don't want
Dead.
to talk about the Grateful Dead?
I already talked about that.
Why don't you talk about Madonna?
2019, Madonna. This is for my sister. Madonna was at number 1 on the U.S. album chart with her 14th studio album, Madam X. It became Madonna's 9th number 1 album in the United States.
Does that have the song I'm Madonna, bitch?
I mean, bitch, I'm Madonna.
Bitch, I'm
Madonna, bitch.
Bitch, I'm Madonna.
Smiley Lewis,
Ah, Smiley.
Birthdays.
R&B singer, wrote One Night covered by Elvis. I Hear You Knocking. 55 for Gail Storm. He died. I was born this day in 1920. Smiley Lewis.
Nice.
You want to do
Happy
one?
birthday.
1943, Robbie Robertson, Canadian musician, songwriter,
Dub band.
the band, film composer, producer, actor Robbie Robertson. He joined the Hawks in 1962, who became known as the band. Wow, whoever did that writing sucks. Bob Dylan and the Hawks toured the United States throughout the 1965. Why can't I talk? Throughout 1965.
Slow down. Slow down, you read too fast.
And a world tour the following year as a songwriter, Robertson is credited for writing The Wait, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, Up on Cripple Creek, I Almost Said Nipple, Broken Arrow, and Somewhere Down the Crazy River.
Wow.
Yeah, the band was awesome, and then they do The Last Waltz. They make this big movie with Martin Scorsese and all their friends. Like everybody's in this movie. If you've never seen The Last Waltz, it's like one of the great rock movies. You should see it. If you're a rock fan, you should see it. The musicianship is second to none. He's Clapton's fucking drunk out of his mind on stage. And they, this is it. And then they get back together and they tour for like another 10 years. Robertson doesn't join them though. Everything they did after Robertson left the band was like,
I'm so not even trying.
Oh, I love this. Dick Scopetone.
I would say
Harper's
Scopetone.
Bazaar had the U.S. number 34 single in 1967, the 59th Street Bridge song. Slow down, you move too fast.
I know it. Okay.
You gotta make the moment last now. Kicking up the cobblestones. Feeling groovy. Do you ever feel groovy, Lily?
It depends on my day.
Do you want to talk about Michael Monarch?
Yeah, Michael Monarch, 1946 guitarist from Steppenwolf, who had the 1969 U.S. number 2.
69, dudes!
Born to Be Wild, which is sometimes described as the first heavy metal song. Steppenwolf sold over 25 million records worldwide, released 8 gold albums, and scored 12 Billboard Hot 100 singles.
25 million albums.
You guys are such nerds. By the way, I watched Star Wars over the weekend.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
I was a little slow.
I don't even know what that means.
Set the cherry pop and what?
Will Smith, how dare you slap Lily like that? Shame on you. Will Smith isn't it? Will Smith's mad because he wanted to be in Star Wars and they won't let him.
Wonder why.
There's a lot of people who are really lobbying to be either in Star Wars or the Marvel Universe right now. Will Smith, Brad Pitt, they all want, like, Tom Cruise is like chomping at the bit. He's like, oh, he thinks he should have been Iron Man. Like,
Oh, he's too short. Stop.
Little Iron Man.
He could have been Iron Boy. Iron Boy!
Sidekick. Exactly.
There's that.
Oh, you better not have COVID. That's
That sounds gross. Sounds like that spider that was in my coworker's cup.
Ooh.
I'm gonna puke over that.
Casey Gaines.
Cassie.
I'm going to call her Casey.
I'm good.
You say Cassie, I say Casey.
I
You
say
say
Cassie.
tomato, I
That's her
say
name.
tomato. Backing, well, so you never want to read any, so. You're gonna be.
Okay. Oh.
Backing singer, best known for her work with the southern rock band Lynyrd Skynyrd, Gaines was killed in a plane crash on the 20th of October, 1977, with 2 other members of the band.
You don't say. Wow. just a
Andy
horrible
Ellison, yeah.
I'm reading the next one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. This guy loves guy.
Huey Lewis, 1950, American singer.
Want a new drug.
I love that song. That's my favorite one.
Ghostbusters.
No. Songwriter and actor from Huey Lewis and the News, who had the 1985 UK number 11 and U.S. number 1 single with The Power of Love. Their third and best-selling album was the 1983 Sports, and they had contributed to the soundtrack of the 1985 feature film Back to the Future. Lewis previously played with the band Clover from 72 to 79. This is the 3rd time that Back to the Future has come up today for me.
Weird, man.
Maybe you need to watch that trilogy next. I think I'm going to watch that trilogy next.
I'm going to. I'm going to have to.
I watched the Canonsburg does a movie in the park. Did you see that?
Oh,
And
they do
they're
that?
they're doing Raiders of the Lost Ark in like a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah?
It's on Friday nights.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Ron Thompson, singer-songwriter Ron Thompson, was born in 1953, released 9 albums, and worked with Little Joe Blue, John Lee Hooker,
Yes, sir.
Lowell Fulson, Etta James, and Big Mama Thornton. Oh, here you are. This is an Aerosmith connection here.
There you go.
1954, Jimmy Crespo, American Guard. Oh my God.
Crespo.
Lordy.
That's fun to say. Francisco.
American
So
guitarist for
fun to
Aerosmith
say.
from 1979 until 1984. He co-wrote "Rock in a Hard Place" with Steven Tyler, also not the greatest album, but that's fine. This is not the Charlie Daniels Band, and he also worked with Rod Stewart, Billy Squier, Meatloaf, and Stevie Nicks.
Excuse me.
I was doing that earlier.
Come here. Sorry about that.
It's fine.
Yeah. He's one of those like hired guns.
Yeah.
Kind of guy. Nobody was ever going like when they tried to do this nonsense and not have fucking Joe Perry. Like I'm like, it's not
It doesn't work out.
No, you got to have Joe Perry and Brad Whitford. Like it's like you got to have Keith Richards and Ron Wood. Like you just got to.
It's a thing.
You got to have Malcolm and Angus Young. Like that's how it is.
Yes.
It's like the law.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's even true about Steve Clark and Phil Collin. I think that Adrian. What's his name?
Vivian Campbell.
Vivian Campbell. Adrian Ballou. He's in King Crimson. But Vivian Campbell, like he's a monster. But there was something about Phil, Steve Clark's like attitude that he brought to the band. You know what I mean? Like I think that when he left, he died. He left to be with Jesus. He joined the Heavenly Jesus Band.
Yes, you did.
He lived up there with Jesus.
Will stop then. Now the flame will start burning.
The way he talks hurts my brain.
I know, right?
Praise his name. I love this guy. I have his first 3 albums. They are all fucking killer. Mark Cohen, he wrote that, most famously known for the song Walking in Memphis.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, can't go wrong with his first 3 albums, any of them. It's just one great song after another, stuff that kind of makes you think and makes you feel, and stuff that's like kind of romantic, but then stuff that's kind of like, kind of spiritual. Like it's like, and he's got a great voice, and just always killer musicians. Just the top-notch guys are all over his albums. Lily's looking at her watch. She's like, wait,
I'm looking at Michael Gold's talking still.
I think let's take a quick look.
know.
Is
Is
anybody
anybody
else we need to
exciting?
really?
I don't know
Nick
about
O'Malley from Arctic Monkeys, happy birthday. Jason Wade from Lifehouse, happy birthday. Well, that's pretty much anything that our audience is. Say that 10 times
right.
fast. The drummer from the Cardigans, happy birthday.
Oh, all right there.
Lagerberg. That's all you got to say.
Lagerberg.
Lagerberg. Good job.
Have the Lagerberg. I will have the Lagerberg now.
That's right, yeah.
You will give it to me.
Thank you.
What happened?
Oh, Herr Fräulein.
Sie
All the
sich ganz
things.
besser als. Was ist was?
All right.
Okay, we're going too far back in time. McGillicuddy in the house. All right, McGillicuddy, happy birthday. Andy Demmett, Jerry Chambers,
Yeah.
Facebook user.
Oh, I love him.
I think that's Bill
It
Damiano
is, yeah.
or
It's
Michael
either
Gold.
Michael or Bill.
Okay,
'Cause
Tony
they're
Horton.
gone off here.
Horton, here's a who. Tony has some insightful comments. The rest of the entertainment industry has shifted to be very anti-masculine, and rock and roll stripped pretty much first, which is why rap got so popular, because it was tough, at least. The Darkness
Legit.
and Wolf. There's two good bands from the
Yeah.
early 2000s.
Yeah, there you go.
Recently showcased a lip stick that rock is morphed into today. There is a Justin Hawkins, who's a singer for The Darkness, has a really cool YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah?
It's very good.
Let's check it out.
Most rock stars are now in their 60s and 70s. Yeah, that's the problem. Kind of like how our bitch-ass rhythm guitarist thought Abortion Mary should be renamed for PC reasons. Eat a buffet of dicks, you fucking
buffet
pussy.
of dicks.
That's Ken Kovac.
Wow.
All right, Ken. You might want to get a little anger management going there. I don't
Get the
know.
bag.
Grandmaster Flash smokes everyone.
Also Ken.
As far as danger goes, we need the flip mode squad. That shit is straight up dangerous. What is that? Do you know that?
I don't.
Metallica and John Cougar suck.
Oh my.
Think of Michael Goltz, maybe.
Each other?
That's Ken.
What?
No, it's Ken. Variety 96. I don't know what that means. Lou, didn't you say the labels made the rock stars by putting up the money to get them started?
I think that's Michael Golds.
It was more than getting, yeah. They invested a lot of money, but here's what people don't understand about a record deal. Let's just put this out right now. I didn't touch on this. I want to get into this on another podcast, but that money is a loan.
Yeah.
And everything else has to get paid. Like you got to make sure that the everything has to get paid before you see a dollar. So that loan has to be completely
Paid off.
before you see a fucking dollar. The design and music business sucks blue whale balls.
Oh, not just regular.
I don't remember that. I actually think it's Michael.
You can't feel the music coming out of your iPhone the way you could out of a Sirius stereo. So I think that there's something to be said in that. I did hear John Fogerty talk about this one time, where he said that the idea, and I think they're a pretty rockin' band, Creedence, said that when they sat down to do the music and when they mixed it and stuff, they were like, okay, what's gonna sound good now? Kevin or Lily might be too young. What's going to sound good coming out of that little speaker, that one speaker in the middle of your
car.
dashboard?
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that? You had iCars like that, and so, so there is at Gigaroo this weekend, a bassist complimented another band on their new track. Other band said, I have the rest of the unreleased stuff on my phone. Do you want to hear it? He replied, not through that crappy speaker.
That's Bill Damiano.
Yep.
Saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. Jared and Drew will send me music. The text. I'm like, guys, I gotta go to a computer and hear it on good
When
speakers.
somebody
I can't listen to it on that.
When somebody sends me music to listen to, I go into my car. And I play it in my car.
There you are. Sharon will do that. She'll be like, listen to this. It's like hurting my ears.
I just feel like the car is the best place for me to listen to it.
Filters are the antithesis of rock and roll. I agree. These guys weren't filtered. They weren't being politically. They weren't racists either. I mean, come on. Let's not go there. I mean, but they weren't didn't give too much thought about I better not say this, so I get mad. Somebody was reminding us. I guess when we were trying to think of a VJ, somebody said Nina Blackwood.
Yeah.
Bill as well.
So Bill Damiano says he's a curator by that definition.
Yes.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies. Yep. R.I.P. Gilmore Goltz has passed. Oh, I'm so sorry. He passed. I forgot. I did not realize that, Michael. My apologies.
That's cute.
Yes. SYD. His new puppy's named SYD. Sid. For Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Steve Clark wrote incredible guitar solos, which were the guts of some of Def Leppard's best songs. I agree.
Yes.
I think that I don't know what's going on with Vivian Campbell. I really was when he joined the band, I really thought, okay, because he was in Dio, and I'm thinking okay, man, it's going to get heavier. No.
Not so much.
Not at all. Not even not so much. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com or LouLombardiMusic.com. Join our inner circle, and we will trash on shit all over your comments.
As we
just
do.
like we did. Okay. And we will get the... we got to get the Hawk back on board here, so I apologize to those of you who were looking forward to the Hawk. We will get him on. RockRageRadio.com. Download the free app.
Free.
And then Wolf's Customs. Get a custom paint job done on your axe.
On your axe.
On your active. So, Lily.
So you can listen to my show on Thursdays, Hot Licks with Lily 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Who are you interviewing this week?
I'm actually not. I do not have an interview this week for the first time in months. I don't have
Well,
an
why
interview
don't you
this
interview
You
me?
sh- I was going to say,
want me to interview
interview
you?
Lou.
week. I will
Oh,
interview
Lord
Lou
Jesus.
this week. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see how it
Wow.
goes. For this week's podcast, and or not podcast show, and I don't know what's going on as far as shows go. I am going to the Motley Crue shebang in August.
The Cult's coming. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Yeah,
So
I have to
I
work
might have
that
to
night.
do that.
I'm like, damn it.
Ow.
You know,
and Black Label, was it Black Label Motorcycle?
Black-
Rebel,
Black-
the Rebel Black, the
You're
Motorcycle
breaking my brain.
Club of.
Anyway,
I know, right?
you're not-
BLS. Black Label Society.
Okay. Are you talking
No,
about
it's
the
not Black Label
no,
Society. It's the Motorcycle Club.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're what you're talking about.
Anyway, I don't know what shows I'm going to other than the Crew right now. I have to think about it. I can't remember.
That's all you can afford. is
I'm
to
going to
just
go
Crew.
to the Lawrence Welk tribute.
Sweet.
Who didn't know that?
Are you going to take bubbles?
Nerd.
Did I tell you guys what happened? I told you guys what happened with Seven Springs.
Yes,
right?
you did.
Yes,
you told
that
us
was
the whole
awesome.
story.
But anyways, I'm not going to get into. But anyways, I'm not going to go to anything
For a while.
for anything because I just can't.
Burned out there, are you?
It's just too crazy. I like to go and get all fucked up.
What?
You don't say.
So
Not you.
I have to go to something where it's not going to cost me $700 in an Uber.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't Uber out to Star Lake.
Oh.
Maybe New Kids on the Block. Maybe I'll go see
No,
that.
Lord.
You got the right stuff, really.
I'm going to Kennywood towards the end of the month
There you go.
for Slovak Day.
Slovak Day.
All right, guys. On that happy note, it is the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Pittsburgh Kevin,
Yes, sir.
Lily V6.
Oh.
My name is Loudini, and we will catch you all next time on the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. All right, guys. I'm getting the hell out of here. It's a long show. Have a good
love
night.
you.